Sorry to break it to you guys, but the end is nigh. The CW's longest-running Arrowverse show is finally drawing to a close. Showrunner Eric Wallace has officially confirmed that Season 9 of The Flash will be its last, with Barry Allen and Team Flash returning for one final lap in 2023. I can't promise that's not the only pun that will be made. Please forgive me. With the final season being condensed into just a 13-episode run, we're left wondering what will and should be tied up in the last chunk of episodes. Stick with us as we run through what the end could spell out for the Scarlet Speedster at this juncture, and also touch on whether or not an iconic piece of DC lore could still happen on the show.
We'll never stop until one of us is dead.
To kick things off, fans will remember that Season 8 was rounded out with the Flash defeating Eobard Thawne, aka the Reverse Flash, once and for all, ridding him of being the avatar for all four of the negative forces. The big question looming over the final moments of the season is who will be the next avatar for the negative forces. As this is pondered by both Barry and Iris, we get a quick flash forward to 2049 where a mysterious blue crystal begins to glow. Now, Eric Wallace has already said that the blue crystal does link to who the villain in the beginning of Season 9 is. He also said that avid comic book fans will know who the villain is straight away, but he was staying tight-lipped on actually revealing anything. The biggest hint from all this seems to be that comic book villain Cobalt Blue is finally making his live-action Flash debut. Just in case you're not up to scratch on this big bad, in the comics, Cobalt Blue is the villainous alter ego of Malcolm Thawne, who is unveiled as the long-lost twin brother of Barry Allen himself. Growing resentful that his twin had a happier life than he did, he eventually became Cobalt Blue and an enemy of the Flash. A long-running fan theory, reaching all the way back into Season 1, is that Iris' deceased fiancé Eddie Thawne will somehow turn into the show's version of the character. It would be a fun way to round out the show and bring back a potential showdown for Barry and Eddie. But fans have hoped for a legit villainous Eddie to show up for years now. Let's not hold our breaths, right? However, it does seem that Cobalt Blue is coming to wreak havoc on Central City. Fans can rejoice about that at least. There's also the case of our hero's archenemy, the Reverse Flash himself. Some fans may not know, but the finale of Season 8 was actually written primarily as the show's final episode ever. Hence why we got such a big showdown between the two rival speedsters, which ended in Eobard Thawne's apparent death. Like, actual death. For good. Finito. Eric Wallace, of course, rejigged the story slightly to hint at Season 9, but there is a thread left hanging as to whether or not we'll see Barry Allen's worst enemy for one final battle. Wallace has mentioned that Tom Cavanaugh will appear for at least an appearance in the final run of episodes, but he has been coy on how he'd shoehorn in Reverse Flash given the outcome of the last time we see him. Given how long these two speedsters have gone head-to-head, we can only hope for one final fight, right?
The negative forces brought me back.
We do know of one previous villain who will be showing up to tie up their story, and that is none other than Season 6 villain Ramsey Rosso, aka Bloodwork, played by Sendil Ramamurthy.
You're not the hero here. I am.
Rosso served as the big bad for the first half of the season, of course being defeated after managing to turn the Flash evil for a short spell. We know from the last time we see the scientist turned psycho that he was playing the long game with how he would escape from Argus custody. We now know from a tie-in comic story set in the Arrowverse that Rosso broke free during a riot. The final panel of the story simply ended with the words, "To be continued in The Flash Season 9. What a sneaky hint. We do know from Eric Wallace that other old villains are due to make some type of appearance, but as to who will remain a mystery until 2023. Then there is also the idea of Team Flash. The roster at Star Labs has changed here and there over the years, but with the final season imminent, could there not be some familiar faces popping up? Grant Gustin, Danielle Panabaker, and Candace Patton will certainly be back as Barry Allen, Caitlin Snow, and Iris West Allen, respectively. We also have Kayla Compton's Allegra Garcia and Brandon McKnight's Chester P. Runk. Both are expected to return for the last run. Alas, things do start to drop off slightly from there. Jesse L. Martin will return as Joe West, but unfortunately it will only be for a 5-episode stint as the actor decided to step away from the show during production of Season 8. Previous faces we can't help but expect to see? Kenan Longdale's Wally West for definite. Surely it wouldn't be right not to bring back Kid Flash. Natalie Dreyfus's Sue Dearborn would be a fun one for sure. The biggest one of them all? Of course, Carlos Valdes' Cisco Ramon.
I've been having these dreams.
What happens in the dream?
Dr. Wells is the Reverse Flash, and he kills me.
For the original fanboy and the tech guy of the team, there is no official word on a return, but we can expect the team behind the show to be doing everything they can to bring him in for one last hurrah. Speaking of previous Team Flash members, there is one who seemingly bit the dust last season and appeared to come back in a new way as Season 8 closed. Workhorse referring to Frost. In the midst of Season 8, Frost's card was marked during a face-off with one of the big bad of the season, Deathstorm. From there, as the team worked to mourn her death, sister/clone/whatever you want to call her, Caitlin, couldn't let go and decided to work on bringing Frost back. Though there was turmoil with Team Flash on the subject, this eventually worked in the closing moments of the last season. As Frost's boyfriend Mark, aka Chillbane, notices a chamber malfunction, he quickly gets it opened up to find someone he doesn't really recognize. The Frost inside the chamber, who is unseen by viewers, simply says that she is a friend.
A friend.
Or at least she thinks she is. We could potentially be getting a Frost who's more in the vein of the version we've seen in Season 3, or maybe a naive version who isn't sure of the difference between right and wrong. Think the Adam Warlock that we're getting in the MCU's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. One thing we do know is that she'll be stirring up some kind of trouble. It can be expected that Caitlin is going to have a Frankenstein/monster relationship with this new Frost to begin with. Plus, it's very doubtful that Barry and co. are going to be on board with a new, very different Frost from being forced into existence. The ultimate question for tying up everything in Season 9 is the fate of Barry Allen. We've known since day one that the Flash was destined to die in a crisis in 2024. As the show has progressed, timelines have changed and the character's fate has been altered, with him seemingly alive and well far in the future with his family. But with how Barry Allen's fate is known to end in the comics, could the CW show still follow through with this outcome? It is possible that the higher-ups behind the Arrowverse may prefer something different. The show to kick off this universe, Arrow, ended everything with the death of Oliver Queen, so it does stand to reason that the writers would not want to repeat themselves. But Barry Allen's death is a big event in the fabric of DC Comics, and fans may be more satisfied by an untimely but heroic demise, in a strange, demented way. Wow. Dark. The 9th season does have a lot of potential to end on a very big high for the fans. There is room to bring back old faces, pay off on old stories, and even give us a final shot that could blow every other Arrowverse show out of the water. As the longest running Arrowverse show, The Flash deserves a decent farewell tour. So all the viewers should be getting excited for the final return in 2023. Just one thing, writers, no more new suits. The Flash's wardrobe can go untouched from designers for 13 more episodes.